The average Nigerian Christian is a reactive person. They are like attack bulldogs.
I salute you, my people. How una dey? No be smart, They say wonder shall never end, my people. This broadcast of Peter Obi, where he say you go turn night vigil to night shift, my people. Be like say some people, as in some pastors, they don't really watch that video. You understand me? They just hear, then say on social media. And after that, they'll just, just react to it. Or maybe people just feel say, then to the day around. Maybe people just feel their vibe. She will not get me now. Now we think be that. So my people, one of the problem we get for Nigeria, we say we too religious. Yes, and we are too far from that God where we they claim say we know. Yes, now we see be that. Anyways, this pastor right here, his name is Emmanuel Irene. You don't come out, can't give Peter Obi water. So my people, make
every day on the internet or somewhere, you see someone say stuff like, well, instead of spending all this time in church, having vigils every day, and that's what makes me laugh. We always strawman the argument. Which church do you know that has vigils every day? Do you know any church that has vigils every day? Some might have vigils every day for a season, but no church has vigils every day. And sometimes, to protect our bias, we strawman the argument. We create the worst scenario to make it horrible to the natural man so that we can feel like what we are saying makes sense. No church has vigils every day. Please don't get me wrong. I have profound respect for the person who said this. It is part of my duties, my privileged roles in Christ and in the body of Christ to set the record straight on some things like this. So, okay, if churches don't have vigils every day, how often is too often? Twice a week? Thrice a week? Do you realize if you saw someone who goes to the gym every day, you won't think he's wasting economic hours? Don't you see that the bias is hidden? Guess what? If you saw someone who hung out with his friends thrice a week, you say it's good, work-life balance. But someone who goes to church thrice a week, we say we need to be more productive as a nation. First and foremost is the gaslighting for me. Nobody who has worked in the government, past or present or future, has the right to comment on such a things. For God's sake, if the people don't go to church, have you provided jobs for them? Where are the jobs? Nobody who has been in government, past or present, has the right to make such a comment. And listen to me, please be wise. See, nobody who follows me will be mediocre. I say this with all sense of humility, please don't get me wrong. You see, sometimes the level of output in my life in 1 month, if it was someone else's highlight for a whole year, you've tried. If all you do in a year is to release an album, you've tried. If all you do in a year is to release one movie, you have to understand I have like 5 full-time jobs. So I believe in productivity, but please don't let anyone talk down on your devotion, your faith in the Lord. Protect it with all you have. Protect it with all you have.
Now, let's analyze night vigils. I have done night vigils as a young pastor. We go there, we sing most times and dance most times, and by the time the message is on, people are sleeping, ushers will be going around waking the people sleeping. And then at the end of the day, you will close, you will go and sleep, you won't go to work. I know a church behind me here. Ironically, it is a factory that closed down that the church is using. Another church is there in the same factory that closed down. Another church is there in the same factory that closed down. So we are doing churches in a factory we could revitalize that will employ people. So you go to the night vigil. Do you really maximize the time? The night vigil, is it not a mentality of an African that they are meeting they meet by 12 o'clock, so stay awake, it is by 12 o'clock that they are meeting? Is it not the mentality that demonic activities take place at night? That's why you are awake to pray against them. If the God you serve neither sleeps nor slumber, Why do you have to stay awake with him at the same time? Why don't you sleep, let him take care of you? Why? If you love staying awake, why don't you go and be a security guard? And somebody commenting, I told him that your church has a plaza where people rent and the church gets money. Your church sells paper and my printing press. I have a printing press. I'm an ordained clergyman. I have a printing press. My press buys paper from you. I also print materials from your printing press owned by your diocese. Your diocese has a fish farm. Your diocese has halls that they rent out, which I also rent. So your diocese has investments. And I gave an example of the Nnewi Diocese of the Anglican Communion that has rice farm. They sell rice. They have computer centers. They are into oil and gas. They have schools. They have several investments. I gave another example of the Onitsha Diocese of the Catholic Church that has 5 big functional hospitals. And they are into several multi-million naira businesses. I gave an example of the richest Catholic priest, at least in Nigeria, if not the whole world, Father Ede, that has 2 universities, has banks, has a paper mill, has printing press. I think he has a bottling company, and he is not flamboyant. He doesn't have a private jet. And the writer said that his major interest is humanity. And there are several, the Maris brothers in Uturu, they have tractors, they have workshop, they have poultry, they have hatchery, they have hospital, they have schools in Uturu. So, I have traveled and seen. I was in the hospital where my son works in Germany about 4 days back. It was established by the Roman Catholic Church. Big hospital with a chapel, so small chapel inside. And I know that chapel will not be making noise to disturb people. Most night vigils are not effectively used. If you pray from 4 o'clock to say 7 o'clock during the day, 7 says 4 o'clock, or let's say 6 o'clock, to even 9 o'clock, 3 hours of prayer is enough. God is not a wicked God like your father or like Dr. Apokin. He is a merciful God. Before you even start praying, he has heard. So, some people say, why don't I talk to Muslims? Why would I talk to Muslims? I don't have control over another person's servant. Now, let me ask you a simple question. The tomatoes you eat, who grows it? The cows you eat, who rears them? The sheep you eat, who rears them? The onions you use, who plants them? The carrot you use, who plants them? The watermelon you eat, who plants them? The beans you eat, who plants them? The rice you are carrying from the bagged rice, tomato puree, is produced in the north, and they are predominantly Muslims. What do you produce? 6% of Nigeria's GDP centers around animal husbandry. How many animals are in your prayer camps? Then let's come to oil. The same oil Nigeria has, Saudi Arabia has, Kuwait has, Qatar has, Oman has, all the Gulf states that produce oil. Can you compare Nigeria to those states? They have invested their money well. 30 years back, Dubai was just a small fishing port. See what they have become. Are you not going there for holidays? Are you not going there for treatment? You want me to talk to Muslims? There are more industries functional in the north than in several areas in the south where you people are praying and praying and praying. If a Muslim is going to the mosque, the one who is a cobbler carries his materials down. See the markets they have established around your country. And Muslims don't need big auditoriums to pray. With their mats, 5 of them will gather together from different states of the country, and they will pray and they will move on. They don't need to raise money to build big infrastructure all over the streets. 5 churches in one building, making noise. Now let's look at the statement. Dismantling night vigils to night shifts. Simple intelligence. I ask you a simple question. Do you think that your brethren in America, unless the witches in your village are very wicked, do you think your brothers in America will leave their jobs and go and do night vigil? No. They walk. Carry some of these pastors to America, they will die of hunger. Carry them to the UK, they will die of hunger. They work. They work at night. Excuse me. You might need to do 3 jobs. I was in Australia. My pastor friend that invited me, I taught him in the Sunday school. He's late now. I was wondering how he manages to impregnate his wife. Throughout the night, he will walk, come, go. I felt guilty going to visit him. As I traveled, at one point, my children had to leave me to go and walk. If you go and do night vigil before you come back, your job is taken over. Let's look at how you can dismantle night vigils. The time is coming in Nigeria where your salary cannot feed you, cannot even pay your transport. My wife was complaining as I came back now. Bag of rice is this, bag of rice is that. I don't complain.
Sir, your salary cannot even feed you.
I knew these things many years back.
So maybe just leave that.
When I started preaching, and I established businesses that are taking care of me in old age. Excuse me. I have real estate. If you listen very carefully, you will hear chicken, a cock crow now. It's the broilers in my poultry. I have a poultry in this compound. I have plantains in this compound. I have coconut in this compound. I don't buy oranges in this compound. Your prayer camps are empty. Empty of animals. Empty of crops. If the economic situation continues like this and the prices are going up, you will need to do extra work to earn enough to cater for your children's school fees. In fact, that time you will refuse to give your first fruit. I'm telling you. When you have bills piled up, you will refuse to give your first salary. Those of us talking to you, we love God.
We too, we love God.
I spent my money around Africa. Excuse me. Forgive me the change in weather. I spent my money doing missionary work around Africa without collecting offerings. If there are factories working, this residence, I bought it from a factory that closed. Assuming this factory is working and there's production throughout the night, you won't go for night vigil. You will come to your work. You will come to your work. If there is production in Nigeria and people are having to do night shifts in the factories, you won't have time for night vigil. That's what Peter will be saying. Now listen very carefully. When you go to societies that function, this is your bank applications. There are people working at night to keep them going. My son works from home. He's a computer engineer, has a PhD, he works in a Jewish firm. The only thing that will take the Jewish people away from work is to go and fight. Not to pray, they go and fight. Wear uniform and fight. To defend their country, the Israeli Defense Force. Now, all these bank applications that function at night, electricity that is regular, train stations that are regular, radar that are regular, things that make society function, people work there 24 hours. And those 24 hours, you can't go to night vigil. If you have produced glass before, I was the doctor in charge of the Aba glass industry, the clinic there, International Glass Industry Aba. You cannot afford to off the furnace. If you off the furnace, the glass will congeal. And to rebuild the furnace is a lot of money. You have to bring the bricks from France and Italy. It's a lot of money. So the furnace is always on, 24 hours. The bitter glass industry here, they run shifts. My pastor works there. When he's on night shift, he doesn't do tarry night, or what do they call it? Night vigil.
Vigils are not the problem. The problem is that our society has not created such opportunities that allow people to work night and day. Because if they do, even where people work night and day, people still do night vigils. So I don't think night vigils is the problem. The problem is the opportunities that allow people to work day and night have not been created. Because in countries where people work day and night, people still do night vigils. Prayer is not a problem. It's just that the enabling environment to do those kind of jobs is yet to be created.
There are night jobs here. The security, you work security morning and night. So there are night jobs here.
But I don't...
There's nurses and doctors work morning and night.
Yeah.
So we do have night jobs. So what Peter Obi is saying is, we spend all our time doing night vigil when we can be more productive.
I agree with him. You know, a society that ought to thrive shouldn't spend the whole time in church. I've said it many times. That's why I said you don't need God to succeed.
Okay.
It was a whole teaching, and I was taking time to explain that what God has given you the ability to do, don't wait for him to do it for you.
For you, yeah.
All right? So you've got to do what you've got to do to get your society to function. There are even societies who don't even believe in the existence of God, and they're doing very well physically, economically, and otherwise. You know, so
It is
those are the
really
kind
well.
of things I was
I
explaining.
love the fact say Pastor Abel, at least he give us some advice. He say prayer without work na nothing. As I dey always talk, manna, they fall from heaven. So my people, who gets here, make it here. Manna no dey fall from heaven. If you know, you know. May God help us. So guys, feel free, make una drop una opinion down below. Till I come on our next time, stay good.